Hey, it's Bethany Wallace, and I wanted to share some tips or thoughts with you about communication in the workplace, specifically related to setting expectations. So, I have noticed myself that I'm a big proponent of prevention versus damage control. And I know that I've done other videos on that, wrote an article about that on my blog, on my business page. But that principle of prevention versus damage control applies in so many settings and situations. One in particular is with setting expectations. Now, this can be with people you're working with. This could be clients or students or patients. It could be colleagues, anyone, especially people you're managing in some way. And so I can tell you like an example about this. And this came to my mind today because of a conversation I was having. So if I have, let's say, a college student, because I used to teach college full time, and then I taught as an adjunct faculty member. So if I'm working with a college student or a classroom of college students, and I expect that they're going to turn in their work on time, then I need to make that really clear. So that's one thing to check yourself on is like, how clear are you when you're setting expectations? And, it's great to, if you're an instructor, to write a great syllabus and communicate clearly in writing on your syllabus. But let's be honest, how many students actually refer to their syllabus very often? Probably the only thing that they look at regularly, if they're looking at it at all, is the section that outlines like the course schedule of like what you're going to cover over the course of the semester. But all those other details about you need to make sure that you turn your work in on time. If you don't, here's what's going to happen. That stuff, after the first day when you review the syllabus with your students, they're probably never going to look at it again. So making sure that you reiterate expectations, set clear expectations first of all, and then reiterate those clear expectations. And make sure that you do that in a variety of ways. It's not just enough to say it aloud in class, because some people don't really retain information that they hear. They're not auditory learners. So make sure that you communicate to them in multiple ways through writing, verbally in a conversation in front of the class when you're lecturing, maybe posted also on the learning management system you're using like Blackboard. Just make sure that over the course of time at leading up to a deadline that you've set very clear expectations about when it's due, what will happen if it's not turned in on time, whatever your rule is about that. Make sure that you set clear expectations with people you're working with as well, because, and I would suggest, again, prevention. So set those expectations before you begin working on a project with someone. If you agree, like if you're asked to present with someone or to complete a training project with someone, it's great that they may be a very charismatic person and you know that they might be able to stand up and lead the presentation. But have you said that to them? Have you asked them if they're comfortable with doing that, and have they agreed to do it? And of course, in the workplace, it's always best if you can follow up any verbal conversation with an email or a message, something in writing that just verifies and solidifies that agreement that you've made. So just kind of basic reminders, but for some of us, I think that we just take for granted that we're the kind of people who are going to meet expectations or exceed expectations all the time. And we expect that of other people, but that may not be a very rational, realistic, or fair expectation of other people. We need, without some guidance, without setting parameters and reminders and reiterating expectations, a lot of people just aren't going to be able to perform at the same level you do. So if you're a high achiever, just understand that and be willing to go the extra mile and communicate clearly and effectively, repeatedly, about expectations leading up to a project deadline. Hopefully this will help you a little bit if this is something that you're struggling with. Sometimes we just all need a reminder.